I typed in foods that lowers IQ. Type that in the Google search engine. Or you may have Safari, you may have Yahoo or whatever. We'll type this in. You need to learn how to protect the brain. The brain controls everything. It controls the thinking. It controls the heart. It controls the lungs. It controls your organs. Which is why it's important to protect and learn how to feed the brain. And this is what come up. 11 intelligent killing foods you need to avoid. There's always more, but this is what come up to get you a general idea. 11 intelligence killing foods you need to avoid. Sugary products, alcohol, junk food, fried food, processed or pre-cooked foods, very salty foods, grains except 100% whole grain, and then processed proteins. And then there's a link you can press on. You can press that link right there, and it'll give you more info. You can also press images and look at pictures and continue researching. Or you can go to videos. You could press this or whatever. All right. After I pressed the link, this is what came up. kcalllife.com. And then it started listing the ingredients that lowers your IQ. Sugar products. And think about this, sugar is in everything. Not only is it dangerous for the brain, it's dangerous for the pancreas and other organs. You may wonder, what do I do? The worst thing you could do is give up. Do what you can. And then ultimately, how you value life, how you value your life, how you value your kids' life, how you value your loved one's life is going to dictate how you respond to this information. But you could look for sugars that's not white. Research alternatives, but do not go to aspartame. Do not go to the man-made sugar like Equal and Sweet and Low. Get away from that. That's the word. That's worse than sugar. And what I did was cut out all processed food as much as possible. The sugar is in everything. Alcohol, you know this damages the brain. It makes you slow. You slurs your speech. You're staggering around. You're stumbling. And yes, they drink wine in the Bible, but the verses in there talking about not to be drunk. It said be sober minded. Yes, wine has a medical purpose, but it does not promote going around being drunk and out of your mind. And what they're doing to alcohol is really not biblical. But let me continue. They're adding chemicals to it to make a long story short. Junk food. And you can pause this and read this. I'm not going to read it. Or you could type that link in your search engine. Food that lowers your IQ. And, go back to that. Fried foods. I know some of y'all may be laughing at Brother Nathaniel talking about fried chicken. You need to start reading. You need to start reading. I'm not laughing. I see what he's talking about. Processed or pre-cooked food. What they put in the food is essentially embalming all the nutrients. They're killing the food. So when you eat it, you're not getting no nourishment from the food at all. And it's damaging our organs. And then very salty foods. And then it just continues on. He's talking about number 7, grains, processed proteins, avoid trans fats, To get rid of all that, the best thing to do is avoid all processed food. Go to your fruit stand, grow your own. You're gonna have to detox. You're gonna have to detox. It's not gonna be easy. And nicotine. I'm gonna read nicotine. I know it's not a food. Despite the fact that nicotine is not really a food product, it still wreaks havoc on your brain by restricting the blood flow. There are several additives in cigarettes that's in food. You research, you'll find those out. Like benzene is one of them. Benzene. So this important organ, along with restrict the regular flow of glucose and oxygen. You're not getting oxygen. Your brain is bad for the brain. Nicotine not only causes premature aging, bad breath, but anyway, you can read that. Here is a table of dangerous food additives. On some of your food, you may see these numbers. What you do is type in these numbers and then type in food additive, and it'll tell you what it is. And if you type in side effects, therefore it'll tell you the dangers of it. All of these are bad for the brain. ADHD. Some of this food is causing what they are treating us for. You may wonder you know this is bad for the brain right here. ADHD, deficit hyperactivity disorder, attention deficit hyperactivity. Asthma. You say, how is asthma bad for the brain? If you're not breathing properly, your brain is deprived of oxygen. How is cancer bad for the brain? If you're dying of cancer, you're not in your right mind. Your mind is not operating as it should be operating because you're concerned about the cancer, right? So it affects the brain. And there is a such thing called brain cancer. Just think about that. But let me show you this. First, they create the problem through this food, through certain electronics, through poisons in the air and everywhere, the water, and then they give you the solution, sell it to you. Then these pills is going to cause more damage to the body. They call them side effects. You take a pill for one problem and it causes about 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 more side effects that's going to damage your other organs. It's a circle. You're just going around in circles. You're giving them the runaround. Think about it. They create the problem, then they sell you the solution, and then sometimes, most cases, some of the same ingredients in these pills is in these foods that's creating the problem to begin with. Just think about that. Hold on. I typed in, since I did a video about food dangerous to the mind, I'm trying to help you by giving you somewhat of an antidote, a solution to the problem. Foods for the brain. Walnuts, blueberry, avocado. Now these here, you might want to do a little research on. After all, you don't know when they process the chocolate, you don't know what they're putting in the chocolate. They could put chemicals in the chocolate that counteracts and make it detrimental to the mind. You don't know how the chickens are being raised. You don't know what they're feeding the chickens. They could be feeding the dead chickens. You don't know if the chickens are diseased. And broccoli is a hybrid plant. And salmon. Fukushima is still running in the ocean. The nuclear plant that the earthquake messed up in Japan in a few years ago is still running in the ocean. So you don't know exactly what you're eating. Just do your research though. And almonds. Just read. Just type in brains, food good for the brain, food for memory. Just type it in. It's not hard. It's not hard. You see, it's not hard. You just type that in and start looking and reading. And you'll be able to feel a difference. Your mind will start responding to what you're feeding it. Your senses will become sharper. You'll be more focused. You'll be less agitated. You'll be slow to anger as you get off of this poison that they're feeding us. I know I'm living it right now. And here's some more. Almonds and apples and so forth. You see the list? You can pause this. I'm trying to keep the video short. You can pause this and take a snapshot like so. Trying to keep the video short. But due to censorship, if YouTube take it down, you can find my videos on Black Junction TV, and you can follow me on Facebook and Twitter, as well as YouTube. If you don't find it here, look here. All right, signing out.